Hey guys, Michael at Eibach, and today we are going to be unboxing a PRO-UTV kit. Start by cutting off some straps. Cool, let's check out what's in there. Sweet, first thing we're gonna notice, we have some sliders in here. So we've got 4 sliders. You notice there's 2 different sizes, one's for the front, one's for the rear. Some nice padding in here. Got your crossover rings here. Notice these are front and rear specific as well. Get some of those out of the way. Cool, let's check out the springs. So we've got 2 front tender springs here. Got some rear tenders. This kit also includes adapters, so those are wrapped up right here. You've got 4 adapters. This is adapting the OE perch to the ID of our specific springs. More crossover rings here. These are the front crossover rings, a little smaller than these rear crossover rings. And we'll grab the rest of the springs out here. Cool. Just like all of our kits, you're gonna find our sticker sheet in here. You can go to eibach.com/instructions to find the instructions. They'll also be in this box when you get it. And then all of our warranty information is on the back. So we've got all the springs out. Let's check them out. Organize them a little bit. You got your rear springs here. You have your front springs here. And then all of our accessories. So let's check out what's inside this box. Box in a box. So these are the same springs that are used in off-road racing, your Baja springs, all your short course guys are all using the same springs. So you're getting the same quality spring on your PRO-UTV kit. So we'll check out the rear springs as well. You can notice they're a little bit bigger diameter. Let's go ahead and just pull them all out. We can get an idea of what comes in this kit. All right, so we've got all of our springs out here. We've got our sliders here. So basically, your kit's gonna go on the vehicle like so. These kits are dual rate kits. So we've got our initial rate and our final rate. Like I said earlier, we also include these crossovers. Let's check out what those look like. Wrapped up nice and safe. So you've got 2 crossovers per shock. These are gonna thread right onto your OEM Fox shocks for this kit. And that's gonna change when this slider comes in contact to these, your rate. So you're gonna go from your initial rate to your final rate there. That gives us comfort in the small chop, any medium features you might encounter. And then when you cross over to the final rate, that's gonna be your bottoming resistance for any big things you might run into. For the rear as well, we've got our sliders here. Obviously a bigger shock in the rear, whoops. So go like this. So we're gonna have a little bit bigger setup here. And the same idea, you've got your softer initial rate. You're gonna transition into your final rate with our adjustable crossover rings. So in the rear, these are actually 2-piece crossover rings. Careful, there's some little screws in there you don't wanna lose. And these will go around the shock, and then you can tighten them up with our little Allens here. Last but not least, I mentioned we have adapters. So in the rear, we're gonna wanna adapt to our OEM perch to our spring. So these will just adapt here. You'll have one top and bottom. And that's pretty much it for the parts that come in there. The instructions are gonna tell you where to set the heights on your vehicle. That includes your preload and your crossover rings. Just keep in mind, that was our testing, that was our ride preference. So that's gonna get you a really nice baseline for most of your things. If you've got more passengers, more weight, you might need to change your preload a little bit or your crossover rings to dial in when that final rate comes into play. So one of the big differences when you take off your OEM springs or look at them is you're gonna see that for most of your vehicles, that OEM upper tender spring is almost fully collapsed, with no one in it, and especially with passengers, it's going to be fully collapsed. So you're not taking advantage of this dual rate setup. You're not getting into that comfort or compliance over little chop that makes the vehicle feel comfortable, and then you're not transitioning into a final rate that gives you all that bottoming resistance. So you'll notice when you take off your OEM springs on the Polaris and put these on, you're gonna have a ton more travel in this initial rate and then be able to dial in when that final rate comes in. As far as how these kits are developed, we do most of the testing in Barstow, California. So we'll take 2 vehicles. In this case, we took 2 stock Polarises out. We'll test and tune on one, so we'll put this kit on one. We'll keep another vehicle stock all day. So if we have any questions about making improvements, we'll go back to that stock vehicle, drive that again, and make sure that all of our improvements are improvements and that you're getting the best kit you can get. So we checked out our Polaris kit today, but we also make kits for the Can-Am, Yamaha, Textron, Honda, Kawasaki, or any others. And to see those, go to eibach.com/UTV.